If you talk about Dominican independence, you can't skip the Battle of Azua, dog. This was one of the first major tests of the newly independent Dominican Republic. The battle went down on March 19, 1844, only a few weeks after independence was declared on February 27th. The Haitians came into the situation with a much larger force, while the Dominican defenders had roughly 2,000 to 2,500 soldiers. Now here's where Pedro Santana comes into the story. Santana was a wealthy rancher from El Seibo, who was selected to command the Dominican Army of the South. He wasn't some trained European military genius either, which makes the situation even more tough. He brought men from his estate, including workers and hunters who were used to rough conditions and handling weapons. The Haitian army was coming in heavy. President Charles Erard had organized an invasion force of around 30,000 men and divided it into different columns. One of those forces moved toward Azua with the intention of taking the city and pushing deeper into Dominican territory. Santana and his troops had to defend a young country that had barely gotten its independence. No pressure, right? On March 19th, the fighting started. Dominican troops positioned themselves around important approaches to Azua, using rifles, artillery, and defensive positions. Francisco Soñé and José del Carmen Garcia operated the two cannons, while officers like Antonio Duverger, Vicente Noble, Nicolás Mañón, and others helped organize the defense. The Haitian forces attacked from multiple directions, but Dominican artillery and rifle fire stopped their advances. And this is where Santana's leadership became important. He was commanding a much smaller force against a significantly larger Haitian army. The Dominican defense held, and the Haitian attackers eventually withdrew toward the Jura River. That's a major moment because the new Dominican state had just shown that it wasn't going to fold immediately. But don't get it twisted. The story isn't simply Santana won and everybody went home. After the fighting, Santana ordered his forces to withdraw from Azua toward Sabanabuey and later Bani. Some historians have debated whether that decision turned what was a battlefield victory into something more complicated strategically. Still, the Battle of Azua became an important symbol of Dominican independence. Santana's role was significant, but he wasn't the only one putting in work. Duverger, Soñé, Mañón, Noble, Garcia, and many other Dominican fighters were part of that defense. So when somebody tries drawing like the whole battle was just Pedro Santana versus Haiti, Sicanal. It was a collective Dominican defense. Santana was the commander, but the victory came from a whole squad of fighters holding the line when the new republic was still fighting to prove it could survive.